Morning.
Right.
Yeah. And I didn't see that it was recorded either. So. Hi.
Howdy.
Hi there.
Right. Thank you. You got a minute. Just made it. Hmm?
A crazy day at work.
Rebecca, were you planning on reading this then, the hearing procedure guide?
Rebecca, you want to do it?
But, or you're the chairperson.
Well, I'll let you do it, you know, makes life a little easy on me, you know? That's okay, either way.
I didn't print the copy of the complaint.
Well, I have a copy
That's
here.
fine. Here, I can give you
I was trying to save some trees.
do you need a copy of the complaint in total?
Should we come into
Yeah.
session?
Yeah, let's do first this license hearing pursuant to section 125.12 of Wisconsin statutes in the matter of complaints against Leonard Perrine, operator license. Let's note that for the record, the following committee members are present. So we have myself, Alderman Vince Vitale, we have Suzette Grisham, we have Rosalie Reinke, alderperson, and Tracy Stefneski, and Alderman Road, Daniel Road. So now you can continue on.
So this is a license hearing pursuant to section 125.12 of the Wisconsin statutes in the matter of the complaint against Leonard Perrin. As Mr. Vitale already noted, the following committee members are present: Mr. Rote, Ms. Grisham, Mr. Vitale, Ms. Rinke, and Mr. Stefanski. If you guys could make your appearances.
Nick Serwin is here as the prosecutor for the city of West Dallas. And then Mr. Perrin, if you could note appearance as well. Your name?
Just state your name.
Leonard Perrin.
Thank you.
This is all being recorded just because it's
Oh,
required,
okay.
so that's why we're asking.
Actually, are we? Yes, we are. Okay, never mind. Thank you.
So where are you, sir, in case?
I'm a very close friend.
All right,
So what'd you say?
What's your
My
name?
name's Joseph Retzloff.
Okay,
Okay. And my name is Attorney Rebecca Hammock. I'm appearing with the committee to advise them. I'm also from the city attorney's office. So Mr. Perrin, if Mr. Vitale, the next part is for you to read
yes.
to him about the complaint.
Yes, I'm Vince Vitale, Chairman of License and Health Committee of Common Council of City of West Dallas. Leonard Perrin, a complaint against you has been filed with this committee under the provisions of section 125.12 of the Wisconsin statutes and section 9.2021.20 of the West Dallas Revised Municipal Code. This hearing has been convened for the purpose of determining whether any charges against you are true and to make recommendations, and based upon determinations, this committee will examine all the evidence concerning charges to inquire of both sides. The committee will evaluate the impartiality way of evidence and will determine whether or not any charges have been proven solely upon evidence introduced at this hearing. This hearing is open to the public for persons, records, and proceeding of being made by audio recording. You may be represented by an attorney. Assistant City Attorney Nicholas Serwin is here. The prosecutor will present the case to the committee. The Assistant City Attorney Rebecca Hammock is present and will serve a legal advisor to the council. The city attorney will advise committee on question of law and procedure, and may also direct questions witness on behalf of the committee. You may present evidence, call, examine witness, cross-examine witness against you. Such witness will be sworn. Both the complainant and the license shall be limited to 1 hour each for presentation of testimony, not including cross-examination or questions from the committee or city attorney representing the committee. The chair may extend the time for presentation of testimony to assure full and fair hearing, subject to the motion for consideration by the full committee made by the members of the committee will rule upon all questions, objections, and motions as procedural matter admissibility of evidence. The similar issue of all the objections, questions, motions should be directed to me. You may testify on your behalf with regard to the charges against you. However, what you say will be considered and as evidence. Further, if you testify, you may be cross-examined. If a charge against you are proven, you are advised to the committee, may recommend it to the council that your license will be revoked, suspended, or revoked, or not renewal. The common council may accept or reject such recommendations and may determine upon such recommendations whether your license be suspended, revoked, or not renewed. So we go to the complaint, Sampson's complaint attached. You have been served with Sampson for this hearing, and a copy of the complaint against you which have been filed with the committee for determinations. I now request the clerk to open expert to be record a copy of the Sampson complaints together with a copy of the affidavit of service. Do you admit to any allegation to these complaints, or are there problems which are not connected? So I believe we can move forward, right, Mr. Serwin?
So,
Yes, the last question was, do you admit to any allegations in the complaint, or are there portions which are not contested? I think, Mr. Perrin, that's a question to you.
so have you read the complaint? You've
No.
received this?
No, I haven't read it.
But you received it, right? You were served?
No, I never got,
Mr. Perrin, you were served on July 30th at 6:17 p.m.
I don't know, I talked to you.
Yep, you talked. I sent you copies, and a process server.
No, I never got the copies. Matter of fact, the girl today called me Ann and said that my stuff was brought back to this place, and I never received it.
So your mail was undelivered or not?
It was not.
Okay.
I
I
don't know what address you had.
I have an affidavit of personal service here by serving Leonard Perrin at 800 South 95th Street in the city of West Dallas, which occurred on, the summons and complaint was served, and this was on July 30th, 2020 at 6:17. So a process server served this document to you.
So they would have had to have actually came to your address, had you sign
Yeah,
off on
oh,
the service.
okay.
Yeah. Do you remember back in
That's right,
July they gave you a copy?
right.
Okay. And if you want a copy, I gave my only copy to Rebecca, but I have no problem with having that copy.
Is there something you'd like to look over again? Would you like to? They're basically asking if you'd like to contest anything in sworn.
I just want to contest everything right now. And just,
Understood.
yeah.
But may I ask you, why you address the fact that you did not receive the
I
formal
I didn't
complaints or
know,
assumptions.
I didn't know really that this was, Ann called me today and said, your mail has been brought back to this
building.
address.
Address, back to the
Right.
city hall.
Okay,
Yeah, wait, she got a
If I could,
question.
Mr. Chair, the letter that I sent him to remind him of this hearing,
oh,
I had the wrong address on it, so it was
Okay.
just the letter.
Okay.
all right,
Telling
it
him
was
of
just
the
the
hearing.
letter.
Okay.
But somebody already, you've seen that when they brought it to you on July 30th.
Right, I,
Okay, that's
this,
what we're asking.
this I did see.
Okay, so.
Is there anything that you did see on there that you are contesting?
Yeah, I'm gonna contest just about everything. I don't see why my license is being, denied.
Well, I believe that's what this hearing is all
Okay.
about, correct?
Correct.
So basically what's going on is that there was a formal complaint written against you by the city, okay?
Okay.
And everything, you were denied your initial request to have your bartender's license renewed, and that's what the whole purpose of this is, this entire situation is going on. So basically, everything that they'd sent you here, is there anything on there that didn't happen factually?
I don't know.
So why don't you review that quickly, and that's basic.
Well, on January 1st, I don't know what that is. It says that on January 1st, Leonard Perrin was convicted.
Was convicted of the operating while intoxicated,
Okay,
correct?
all right.
Okay, Yep.
But,
One more
I
page.
missed a page.
There's one more page there, Joe.
sorry about that.
No, that's okay.
That's probably why I missed it. You know, I don't even remember what my blood alcohol was.
I believe it should be stated on there on that report. If you look on page 2, if I remember correctly, it should be stated up towards the top.
Is it 125? 04? No?
I believe it was .09.
.09.
So ultimately, Mr. Perrin and Mr., as you said,
Mr. Retzloff.
Yeah, Mr. Retzloff is correct in terms of kind of what the process here. All this document is alleging is that you had an OWI last year. And so
Right.
if you are, again, I want you to make sure you are aware of that. I'm not advising you, I'm not your lawyer, I'm the prosecutor, okay? But that's what that document says.
But I understand that.
So you might not like the underlying process about what's going on, or be upset that that is something that the committee wants to talk to you about. But I guess the only question here for you is whether or not you admit that you have that conviction, and if you,
Yes.
if you,
And that's what this is.
Yes.
And this is exactly what the committee is asking you at this point. Is
Right,
there anything that
okay,
is written there
right.
that is false?
Right.
and so you would.
Everything on there is
Is
correct.
accurate.
Correct.
Okay, gotcha. And so I guess I would take that as a partial admission. I would still say I'm going to ask for just a little bit of evidence. I'm going to take a little bit of testimony if the committee's okay with that.
Yes.
The committee has a chance to ask you questions, and ultimately, I'm not your lawyer, but what they may be looking for is what's happened since this offense from your perspective, to make sure this doesn't happen again. That's, as a bartender, we want to make sure
I
that,
understand that.
that makes sense? Okay.
Right.
So, Mr. Perrin, I think we all have to swear witnesses who are going to testify, and also I'll have, I think maybe even and do that? I don't know who swears people actually at this point.
So I just want to make sure, factually that says that you have the OWI, but then the whole process has been started by the fact that that affects your ability to have a license. So now, if you don't have to testify, but if you decide not to, what that document says is you can't have a license because of the OWI. So if you don't testify, that's what's going to happen. If you do wish to testify, then the committee has an opportunity to hear you and consider what you have to say about why you should have a license anyways, what you've done since then, what's happened since then, and then that's what we would do
Okay.
next, if that's what you wish to have
I
happen.
understand that.
Okay,
Okay.
I don't want you to feel like you have to testify, but
Okay,
that's kind of
it's
the
just-
next step.
You know, I've done all the schooling and everything else.
So that's what you get a chance to talk about
That's why we're
now,
here.
but, Mr. Vitale, you have to swear him in.
Yes. Okay, where's the,
So
It's
it's
on-
under evidence A,
yeah,
and then it says, there's a bold italicized part about people testifying, the paragraph, the lines right underneath that is what you need to read.
yeah, where's the evidence of what,
Thank you.
Yep.
well, now, I mean, we should go ahead with the all witness testify before the committee should be sworn.
Yep, so below that, it tells you what you need to do,
Yeah,
so,
which we should administrate to each witness by the chairman is as follow. Do
Yeah,
you
Mr.
solemnly swear,
Mr. Penn, raise your
Yes.
right hand.
you, okay, swear that testimony you shall give to this matter shall be truth, whose the truth also my print didn't turn out too good. I think it's noting, but truth to keep your God.
Rebecca, do you have it there in front of you? Just to read
Do
it
you
first.
solemnly
Yeah, read it
swear?
because my
Do you solemnly
printer
swear
didn't
that
turn
the
out good.
testimony you shall give in this matter shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Okay.
Yeah, my print was not that good, you know that.
All right, Mr.
So-
Perry,
Go ahead.
just for the record, could you state and spell your name for the record?
Leonard J. Perrin,
Okay. Can you spell your last name?
Perrin.
Thank you. And if you have any trouble understanding me with the mask on, let me know and I can speak up or something. So again, I'm gonna ask you a few questions. You're gonna have a chance at the end of this or afterwards to discuss whatever you want to present. I'm not sure if you have any witnesses or if he's gonna be a witness.
Absolutely can.
And so you'll have to be sworn in eventually as well. So you've applied, Mr. Perrin, for this renewal operator's license, correct?
Correct.
How long have you been it's to be a bartender, right?
Correct.
Since about 89.
Yeah. All right, and you've been a bartender since about 1989?
Right.
Have you worked at the same place since 1989?
No, I worked at Town Beer and Liquor
Okay.
before that. And then I came up here because I worked like 2 hours a day. And that from 8 until 10 in the morning.
Where do you bartend now?
At Stingers, it's called,
Okay.
on 94th
In Greenfield.
All right.
in Greenfield.
And you do about 2 hours a day, you said?
Yeah,
All right. What's your normal time or shift for that?
it's 8 to 10.
8
8
a.m.
a.m.
to
to
10
10 a.m.
10 a.m. All right.
Yeah.
And why do you have that 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. shift?
It's because actually my bosses didn't want to work that shift in the morning, so I said, well, I'll do it. So,
And how long have you worked at Stingers then? You said you have been a bartender since 1989, but how long have you worked at Stingers?
oh, probably about a year,
About a year.
yeah.
Were you working at Stingers back in November of last year?
No.
No? When did you start at Stingers then?
Oh, no, wait a minute now.
Okay.
Stop. I did work there from 4 until 6 in the afternoons
Okay.
for a while. And then I took this job because they started it like at 7:30, and I just, so we did a little bit of, we started at 8 until 10.
Okay, so that
Okay.
changed.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. But you were employed, whether your shift was different but you were attending bar at Stinger's back, as
Yeah,
far back as
it-
November of last year, is what I'm asking.
When did,
I-
yeah, when did you start working at Stingers?
I don't really remember, because I started working on the afternoon shift.
But what date?
I have no
In the year?
idea.
Was it summer, was it years ago, or was it recent?
No.
Okay. Was it
It's only been, it was probably the time,
right around there?
because that's about the time my wife passed away, and so.
Sorry to hear that. So as the complaint alleges, there was that, and you kind of admitted to already, there was the OWI that took place, right?
Right.
And that was your, how old are you?
81.
81. And this is your first OWI in 81
Yes.
years? All right, very good. And you ended up being convicted of it sometime in January, correct? There's a little bit of a time.
Sometimes,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. And in the complaint, it alleges you were a .09 blood or breath alcohol concentration. Is that what you recall now?
Something like that.
Okay. And you know that a legal limit is .08. So you were
Just a,
fairly close, correct?
correct.
Do you remember any of the facts or the circumstances surrounding the OWI?
Well, okay, now, you might think I'm just doing this, but a car came around the corner on 95th and Schlinger, or 96th and Schlinger. And he had like halogen lights, and they were really bright, so I moved over a little bit to give him room, and I sideswiped the car. And that's what really happened, so.
Do you remember where you were coming from that night? This was at like 5:30 in the evening, right?
Yeah, I was
Okay.
just coming back home
From what?
to Stingers.
Okay.
I stopped and had a couple drinks there. And then, it was still light out, matter of fact.
In terms of the underlying offense, then, to the committee, I don't plan on getting too much farther into it. Obviously, the committee can ask questions to some extent about it, but I didn't bring an officer for that purpose. My thought, in terms of prosecuting this, is it's the nature of the offense and what happened. I elicited, I think, what the facts were that I thought were important, being mostly the BAC, where it was coming from, and the time of day. I guess I'm not going to ask any further questions of Mr. Perrin at this point in time, based on his admissions and statements thus far.
Yeah, I would just like to ask Mr. Perrin, I understand, maybe we're a little nervous, but the fact that you said, well, I'm gonna contest this, it sounded like you didn't do anything
Well,
wrong,
I really wasn't, I really wasn't told exactly, and they said, in matter of fact, I think you're the one who said you can contest this. So, and I only had either guilty or contested. So I contested it because I really wasn't sure what was going on.
And to speak to that, before the last meeting where a few licensees came up, and there was either admit or deny. That's really the two options at that first phase. So I pulled them all aside before that just to kind of explain the process, and I said you can admit or deny. If you want to have a hearing and have a chance to speak to the committee, you'd have to deny at this point to get to that. And so I think that's what he's speaking to. I don't want to put words into Mr. Perrin's mouth, but I think when he wants a process to this as opposed to just laying down and not speaking. That's my
Mr.
understanding.
Chair, if
Yeah,
I may.
fine,
Absolutely.
fine,
Mr. Perrin, I have a few questions for you. And I understand the whole idea of contesting or having this hearing, so I thank you for coming and speaking to this. Now, it was noted that you were just above the legal limit of intoxication. Unfortunately, As it happens to be, as a committee, we brought you in because it's a severe enough offense, in our opinion, that we're trusting you with a bartender's license to serve and make good decisions. So primarily, that's why you're here, is we want to know that you not only take that privilege seriously, but kind of to speak to the fact that you have had this OWI. What have you done in the interim? You mentioned prior to being sworn in, you did the classes or something like that. Can you explain to us really what you've done since then? Because this isn't a matter of guilt or innocence, whether you are convicted of an OWI, that you admitted. We just would like to know where you have gone from that point, what you've learned, and what measures you've taken to make sure that this does not happen again.
Well, matter of fact, all the time I went to the school, I never drank. Matter of fact, all the time it started, and it probably started, I don't even remember, August, September. But I didn't have a drink till then, until I got sort of, I had to go home every night, okay? And so what I did was, I never drank. And I went to classes once a week and all that. So it's just, it isn't that I'm really an alcoholic, okay? Because I don't think it was, because I had stopped at Stinger's. I had 2 or 3 drinks, and I headed home because it was late out yet. So
So you've since maintained sobriety, is that what you're saying, or did you
Well-
maintain sobriety throughout your classes?
Well, I did, okay, but now I only drink at home,
Okay.
and and maybe 2, 3 beers, or a martini.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're not drinking at work at all?
No,
So
No.
getting home to or from, you're not getting behind the wheel?
no, and then when I leave work at 10 o'clock in the morning, I go straight home. So,
Okay. And you did mention one other thing that I noticed, and I wanted to extend my condolences. You said your wife passed away.
Yes.
Was this within the time frame,
Yes.
possibly, that
Yeah.
you had
matter of
this?
fact, I think what happened is either the lights got me, or I moved over a little too far, whatever happened. And then, yeah, I just probably was a little tired, and probably not sleeping good.
Mhm.
But, so I don't know. It's,
Well, I thank you for answering my questions, and I'm good with what I've asked.
Yeah, thank you. So Mr. Perrin, do you have any proofs that you went to take classes once a week? I mean, you have something to show, right? You have it, right?
yeah, I got
I don't
them.
want to see it. If you got it, that's
Okay,
fine.
yeah.
So,
The group dynamics and all that. Mr. Kent is.
okay,
Kent,
great.
Yeah.
So any other questions from the committee members regarding Mr. Perrin?
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
in this particular accident that you had, sideswiped the car,
Yes.
was anyone injured?
No.
No, I see. And how
No matter
close?
of fact, the guys were standing on the sidewalk there, and all of a sudden, they said, "You hit my car." And then, I'm looking, and then I wasn't sure exactly what was going on. And then the cops came eventually, and they towed the car away because my tire was.
It sounds like you basically are you working every day?
No.
Okay.
I work Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday.
I see.
That's it.
And only
And
2 hours
2 hours
a day. I see. And it's kind of Part-time, you might
Yeah.
say, a little part-time
Very
job for yourself to get out of the house.
Yeah,
I see. And how close in proximity was this accident in comparison to your wife passing away? And my condolences.
couple days, yeah,
So,
I see. So,
yeah. And I don't know, maybe I was tired, I don't.
of course, then I can understand the lights also bothering you at your tender
Yeah.
age.
Those old hydrogen lights or whatever they
They're
call
very
them.
bright.
No, I understand.
They're very
Right.
bright.
I understand.
They're right for me.
Everyone has a problem with those lights.
Mr. Chair, I have a
Yes.
question if you're finished. Alderwoman Reinke, are you finished? I'm sorry.
Let's see. Were you ever a owner of a bar?
No,
I see.
no.
And how did you come to get this position?
Actually, Mr. Kovacek one day asked me to be a bartender. And I was working at a school at that time. So I quit. And then I went to work full-time for him. And then he passed away, and then his son sold it. It was called Town Beer and Liquor, 84th Street.
I see.
So, and then,
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, my question was procedurally right now, if we've finished our questions, where we go from here as far as, is this where we also, is this
So-
just a hearing, or do we approve or deny licensure at another time?
We would do it, you would make that decision today.
Okay,
We need to make sure that everybody's asked their questions. I am able to ask questions and then see if Nick has any further, Attorney Serwin has any further questions. And then you can,
then a
You guys-
motion could be made?
then you guys could do, well, you could make a motion or you could have the closed session to discuss it like we talked about beforehand.
Yeah, we can go either way,
Attorney,
or I believe we can just do it at open session, I mean,
Once they're all done, we're all done asking
if you guys
questions.
agree either way, I mean, that's up to the committee,
I had a couple of questions if you don't
And a
mind.
closed
Just a
session.
point of clarification, I think Mr. Perrin would have a chance to present any more evidence. He'll get his side of the case as well, so he can present evidence, or he can call a witness as well if he wants to. And so I want to make sure that procedurally we safeguard that process as well.
Correct. I just had a couple of questions for you, Mr. Perrin. You kept referring to classes. Are those the classes that you were required to take when you got the conviction?
yeah, a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
And then those classes are also required by the DMV, is that right?
Correct?
Do you have your
Okay.
license now? Did you get your
Yeah.
license back?
My driver's license, yes.
Correct. So you have you're fully licensed
Yep.
and good to go with the DMV?
Yeah.
Okay. And then my only other question too was, in terms of the accident, you had car insurance and that was resolved with your car insurance?
Right.
Okay. And
It
if
dropped
anybody
me.
has. But to get your license, you have to get your SR22 insurance, so you have that now?
Right, yes.
Okay.
I got a different company.
Yes.
So any further questions of our city attorney
I have no follow-up.
from our members?
No.
Now it's his turn if he wants to show you anything or have anybody talk on his behalf.
You want to talk?
If you'd like me to, I will. Yeah,
Go ahead,
absolutely.
go ahead. Sure.
Can you swear?
Just- Yes,
Absolutely, yeah.
I'm sorry,
Joseph Retzloff.
Mr. Retzloff, do you solemnly swear that the testimony you shall give in this matter shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do. Thank you.
ahead.
Well, basically, I wanted to come with Joe. Sorry, I always call Joe. I've known Mr. Perrin for a few years now, and watching him last November lose his wife, and within a couple of days have something like this happen. I might be young, but I've been around long enough to know that, just watching that happen, how quickly things just all fall apart. And being able to watch him almost on a daily, because I work for the man who owns Stinger's Bar. I'm basically their mechanic. Anything that goes wrong, anything that's happening there, I help him out with. And watching him throughout last November when all of this starting to happen until now, it's night and day. It's just, I firmly believe that he works early in the morning because that's the shift that nobody else wanted to do, you know? And he has a lot of friends come in, and I've never once seen him drink a drink from the time that he works in the morning. I think it's important to have those outlets. I think it's important to have a group of people, especially if, you know, good friends that come in to visit you at regular scheduled hours. And I just would absolutely, I would be upset personally if you were to lose something like that over circumstances that I haven't personally gone through myself, but I couldn't imagine going through, and especially being 81 years old and this being his first offense, that nobody was injured, that nobody was, you know, this wasn't at 2 o'clock in the morning, this was, you know, obviously not right, and I'm not condoning drinking and driving, it's just, it being his first time in 81 years, to almost triple my life span, I think is pretty incredible, and I'm very, very fond of him, and I think he's an excellent human being, excellent character, and I know that he enjoys spending that time in the morning with his friends. So,
Yeah,
basically all
I
that
do
it is.
appreciate your statements that you made regarding Mr. Perrin.
I have no questions.
I have no questions.
Yeah, I don't have no questions either. So that's up at this point by the members of this body here, if you would wish to go in closed sessions or just casting a vote of approval of it.
Are we gonna
Are
remain
you
open
looking for a
session?
consensus, Alderman?
Yes,
Yes,
Closed session.
closed
well,
session.
that's what I'm asking.
Okay.
So either way,
I think and I don't have it in front of me anymore because I gave it away, but I think the agenda has a opportunity for closing statements. Do you want any opinion from anybody else? You've heard everybody's position. I can give you a sentencing opinion.
I
or is
think
this
the
indicative?
evidence that we heard tonight, I think
very good.
is more than enough, really.
Closed session.
Closed session, right? Okay, I have here the adjourned for deliberations, so
Yes.
I can read that, right?
Yep, you'd read the section
make
on the
it-
agenda under closed session.
I make a motion that we go into closed session.
Okay.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Yeah, I have it.